I live, work, and play in New York City, but I run an extremely successful Airbnb in Atlanta by myself. In today's video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how I manage this Airbnb remotely, and if you stick around to the end of the video, I'm gonna tell you exactly how much I made in my first month on Airbnb. And that starts right now. Okay, so the first thing you want to do to see if you can remotely run an Airbnb from a location is look for a method that you would be able to hand over the keys to your guests. You want to do this without you or a person that you manage physically handing over the key. There's a lot of different systems out there. There's key cafes, there's software for this, and some people just go old school and put a lockbox near or around their building. I think the lockbox method is a little dangerous, so what I personally do is I use a company called Keynest. Now, Keynest isn't the only company that does this. I feel free to use a competitor. I really don't care. I just want what's best for you guys. But what you could do is go over to keynest.com and see if they have any locations near you. Now, the way that Keynest gets somebody to physically hand your key to your guest is they partner with local businesses. It could be a cafe, a bodega if it was in New York, a corner store, a deli. The one that I use was actually a diner or a cafe here in Atlanta. And what my guests do is they just walk in, go up to the register and say, hey, I'm here to pick up a key. Now, before your guests arrive, you send them an email via Keynest and they get the secret code. This could be a one-time code that you give out to each individual guest, or you could use a code that many people can use or can be used more than once. With your guests, you want to give them that one-time code. So they walk up to the register, say, hey, I'm here to pick up a Keynest key. Here's the code I was given. The person goes to the back, grabs your key, hands it to them, and they're on their way. You get a notification via the Keynest app on your phone letting you know that that person picked up their key. This is extremely helpful, getting that notification, because once I see that that person has picked up their key, for the next 30 to 40 minutes, I'm kind of on call or on guard because they just grabbed their key. Now they're gonna go to the apartment and try to enter the space. If they have any issues, they're probably gonna be calling me really, really soon. So it helps me know to just be on call, just know that, someone's gonna be giving me a ring sometime soon, if not. I also ask my guests, once they enter the apartment, to shoot me a text and just let me know that they're there. What that does is it opens up the line of communication, and it also lets me know that they got into the space safely. But if they pick up the key and I don't get a text within an hour, I'll normally shoot them a text. Hey, just checking in. I just want to make sure everything's okay. I'm not really letting them know, hey, I got a notification. I know for a fact you have the key and you're not talking to me. But it's more so just the, hey, I'm just checking in on you. I just want to make sure everything's fine, man. Now, after I know that they've gotten the key, they're going to the apartment, the other way I'm able to know that they got in, and also I'm able to feel comfortable and sleep easy at night, knowing that my Airbnb is safe, is a simple camera system. Now, this goes without saying, do not put a camera inside of your Airbnb. That is just absolutely creepy and it's wrong. And I'm almost certain it's illegal. But what you do want to do is put a camera at the door. Some apartment complexes, and the one I live in, allows me to put a camera outside of the apartment facing down at the door. That way it can watch over packages and things like that. If you're unable to do that, you could put the camera just inside of the apartment, out in the open so it's obvious there's a camera there, facing the door and only the door, so it can't see what's happening inside. If you do put the camera inside, you should let your guests know that there is a camera facing only the door and you're unable to see anything else. The camera I use and recommend is a simple Wyze camera. Now, the reason why I recommend this camera, and honestly this camera and only this camera, is it's only $35. I have no clue how they're able to make a profit. I'm not gonna ask any questions, and I'm just gonna be a happy customer. The camera also comes with a bottom piece that you could either apply to metal that's magnetic, or with double-sided tape so you could stick to a wall or something like that. The best part is that it does hook up to an app on your phone, so that way you're able to check in on things and see what's going on. You can pay a little extra a month to upgrade the software. I personally don't spend anything other than that. I just paid 35 bucks for the camera and I'm good to go. But if you wanted to, you could set up notifications and things like that. So when someone gets to the door, you do get a notification or something along those lines. Again, I highly wouldn't recommend watching over your guests. That's not what this is for, okay? And it also opens up a slippery slope where then you're in a cafe in New York City and you're constantly looking at your phone and like, what are they doing? What's going on? oh, they brought a dog, they brought extra guests. You know, those types of things. I just think that you need to chill out a little bit. But it certainly is helpful for security purposes and those types of things. You never know what crazy things could occur, so it's just nice having the camera that you can go back to if something does happen. So that way you could set the record straight and say, yo fam, I caught you in 4K, okay? Now, the most important way that this all gets done, this ties everything together, is a little app called Taskrabbit. The way that Taskrabbit is done is you have people who put up listings on Taskrabbit and you have taskers. People who put up the listings is us, the people who have a task that we would like to get done. We could set a blanket amount that we're willing to pay for it, or we could set up a per hour amount. Then on the flip side of that, you have taskers. Those are the people who are looking for extra work. They're part of the gig economy, and these taskers are willing to run around town for you and get the job done for you for a specific amount that you guys have agreed upon. I've used this app to get a ton of things done. Oh, I need someone to grab the laundry from the apartment and take it down to the cleaners, bring it back. I need someone to run down to Target and put something in the apartment for me in the Airbnb. I can get all those little things done. But most importantly, here's the pro way of using Taskrabbit. The best way to use Taskrabbit is to use it a little bit and get the hell off that app. What you want to do is go through multiple taskers and ask them to come into your apartment and to clean the space. While you're working with these people, they're unaware that they're honestly on a job interview. So what happened with me is I went through 2 to 3 or maybe even 4 taskers coming in, cleaning the apartment, chatting with me while they were doing it, etc. And it just wasn't a good vibe. Then I found this one person who was absolutely amazing. I believe she was a waitress or a bartender, so she had free time during the day to help me out. So I paid the amount that I was paying on Taskrabbit, the amount that we agreed upon for her to come into the space and do her thing. But once I realized that everything was going great, I told her, hey, look, here's my number. I'd like to pay you directly. Let's get off of the app and let's just work hand in hand. Now you can only do this with people that you absolutely trust, because now you don't have Taskrabbit being there to protect you if something goes awry. So you want to work with them on Taskrabbit a couple different times. Now the reason you want to take things off of Taskrabbit, it makes it so much easier when you're able to text the person directly and not go through the app. Taskrabbit also charges a little bit of a fee, so they take a little bit of the money as well, which makes it a little bit harder for you to run your business profitably. And lastly, it's just a bit of a pain. It's one extra thing that you have on your list. So it took me about a month and a half, but I was able to find this rock star and I just kept working with her over and over and over again. Most importantly, with your cleaner or that rock star that you find off of Taskrabbit, this is how you get things done. When they come into the apartment to clean, ask them to send you some photos of the apartment before they cleaned it. That's very important. Send me photos the second you walk in through the door of all the spaces. You do that for a couple of reasons. A, now you have a clear record of how your previous guest left your apartment. So if something is broken, you know that they did it and not the previous guest. If they left the apartment dirty or awry or anything like that, you have the receipts. You can file a complaint easily with Airbnb because you have proof. This also helps you know if your cleaner is actually doing their job, because at the end of them cleaning, you ask them to send you a photo of the cleaned apartment after they're done. This helps for 2 reasons. You know that they A, did their job and they cleaned the apartment, but now you also have a receipt of exactly how the Airbnb looked before it was handed to your next guest. So if the next guest breaks something and tries to say, oh no, the couch was already ripped before I got there. When I walked into the apartment, it was ripped. You can say, hey, I'm sorry, Seymour, but I know for a fact that the couch wasn't ripped because this is a photo taken on the day before you arrived and the couch was absolutely fine. Using that tactic, getting those pictures before and after the cleaner does their job, it allows you to sleep so easy at night. You also are getting live photos inside of the apartment and inside of the Airbnb all the time. I feel like I'm almost always there. If I'm moving too quickly, feel free to leave me a comment down below. I'll respond to it and I'll add some clarity. And also, hit the like button while you're down there. Help out the channel. If everything I've said so far isn't worthy enough for a like button, let's see if this is. The first month that I started my Airbnb in Atlanta, I made $1,900. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the rental market in Atlanta, but the rent of the apartment is nowhere close to that. I was profitable from month 1. Now, the biggest way to be profitable is to get amazing reviews to make people want to keep coming back to your space. Now, 2 tips to being instantly profitable on Airbnb. First, you want to get amazing photos of your space. If you need to pay somebody to come into the space to get you those amazing photos, just see it as an investment. It's so helpful. The second way to get profitable fast is to have amazing reviews. You live and die by your reviews on Airbnb. One tip to get amazing reviews on Airbnb that I think is so underrated is having that constant communication with your guests. You are not gonna annoy them by, hey, I'm just checking in on you. Hey, were you able to find everything? I really think that those texts go a very long way of making the person feel comfortable. I really like to check in and make sure my guests are okay. Now, another way of getting 5-star reviews on Airbnb is to be unique. Luckily, I made a whole video on how to be unique and get those 5-star reviews on Airbnb. Check that out and maybe you can make $1,900 on your first month on Airbnb.